cannot tell you how happy I am right now. This sound is a beautiful sound. Hypothetically, just hypothetically, nobody I know, nobody I know would take a DC to AC inverter, plug it to the battery of their vehicle, and then not pay attention to that inverter and accidentally draw too much power, discharging the battery enough to the point that the vehicle then will not start because there's not enough charge left in the battery. Hypothetically, of course, about somebody that doesn't even exist. It's not real. It's certainly not me. It is me, isn't it? Of course it is. Hello and welcome back, everybody. Or if you're new, welcome to Jeremy's Garden, a funumentary of my life. A funumentary, you ask? Well, yes. See, life is short. And so you should have fun in life. And thinking of life, if you're not living your dream, you're not living. And if you're not living, maybe it's time to ask yourself, actually it's definitely time to ask yourself, what is your dream? And then go live it. I'm living my dream, and I'm loving it. Now go live yours. Going to take a little peek here at the Predator 3500 watt generator. You can use it to charge your battery. It comes with this accessory cable. It is looks like a regular wall outlet plug, but if you notice it does have a V shape to it, so you can't plug it into 120 volts AC. You have to plug it into DC. This is a DC cable. If you take a look at the other end, it has gator clips on it to plug directly to your battery. It's important to note that the cable is very, very short, so you should take your battery out of your vehicle because you're not going to have it sitting on the ground, the generator, and be able to reach your vehicle. At least not in a truck. But I would recommend that anyways because, well, you don't want to accidentally kill your car, because this is a DC 12 volt unregulated floating current. It does have an 8 amp breaker on it, but it is a 12 volt unregulated power source. You could plug it directly to your car, to the battery if it's in your car, if you have a charge controller on it. If you don't, I recommend taking your battery out. You can charge your battery if you are in a pinch without a charge controller. It's not a big deal, but I do recommend that you at least have a volt ohm meter and then check your battery before you plug it into the generator to charge it. Only run it for about 5 minutes, and then you can actually pull the generator off of the battery, plug your volt ohm meter back into the battery, and check to see how much it is. If it's over 12 volts, it's probably good to start your truck or your car. If you do not have a volt ohm meter, you can use a DC to AC inverter. Now this is a Jupiter model. It is also sold by Harbor Freight, just as the Predator generator. It has a nice little display, such as I'm pointing out, that actually shows how much voltage is coming from the battery, which is great because you can use it as your actual testing unit to, as like a volt ohm meter. You want to plug it into your battery. It has gator clip option that you can plug directly to the battery. You can find out how many volts there are. In my case, it was 10 volts. So I unhooked the inverter and then plugged the battery into the generator. I ran the generator for 5 minutes, turned the generator off, unplugged the generator, plugged the inverter back into the battery, tested it, saw that it was now 12.7 volts, and so I unplugged the inverter, put the battery back of my truck, and it was enough voltage at 12.7 to start my truck, which was great. I had to do that because without a charge controller you can kill your battery, and you don't have the inverter plugged in when the generator's on, because otherwise the generator will tell you that you've got full voltage when actually you might not have a charged enough battery. You're just off camping, or you're just on a family vacation traveling across the country and you need to power some items. What do? Well, you can purchase a small inverter, DC to AC inverter, such as this cyberpower unit. You can pick this up at Best Buy, neither of which are sponsors of the show. It just happens that this is where I got this unit. Now, this unit plugs into your accessory power port down here. Now, they are called accessory power ports primarily today. However, I do have a 2002 vehicle, so it's kind of in that transition where before pre-2000s they were mostly just called cigarette lighters. I kind of have a combo where they say this is a power port and this is the cigarette lighter. They both function and provide the exact same power, and they both accept the exact same plug to plug into it, so you can use either of them. They are on the same circuit. It is important, very, very important to note though, that it doesn't really matter what year of vehicle you have or model, they are almost exclusively limited to 120 watts of power. That is what they're going to put. Now, you really do not want to exceed 120 watts of continuous power draw, or you will end up popping circuits, your fuses over in your fuse panel. They just won't last. That is where a unit like this is okay. This does have it's hard to see there, but that is 120 watts. This is the output for it. So this does have a peak surge built in for 175 watts, which is over the 120. That means that this unit here could, if you plug something in that tried to pull 175 watts, would end up causing your fuse to blow, or possibly blow this unit itself. That is a possibility as well. But if you're just charging a tablet or your phone, some small camera equipment, just trying to charge them up, you should be pretty much good to go. As far as laptops go, if you were to say run a Chromebook, then you should be able to run your Chromebook decently off of that 120 watts. You'd be able to charge it, and you should be able to also have it running full time. while you're doing it. And that's because Chromebooks are generally, they have a power draw of about 65 watts. Chromebooks are, you know, on the thing. If you had a little small netbook, you could also run one of those. Any type of small computer, you could definitely run off of a small unit like this that just plugs directly into your system. Say you want to run a more standard computer that has a little more horsepower, such as an Apple or, you know, a Windows type machine, then you are going to require a larger unit. Now, for my MacBook Pro here, I require this unit right here. This is a duralast. This is a 200 watt power inverter. You pick this up at AutoZone. Again, neither of which are sponsors for the show. Just happens to be what I have. This is a 200 watt continuous power draw that it will handle with a surge peak up to 400 watts. Now, you don't want to put anything that's going to pull over 200 watts very often, or this will end up blowing a fuse. It's interesting to note that it does come with the same style of jack that you can plug into your accessory power port. However, if you want to actually use the full 200 watts, because you are going to be running a bigger system that will draw that power, then you are going to require actually hardwiring it to your battery. So you need to have a direct wire to your battery, to the back of that unit. And then you'll be able to run something like this. So that's well and good. However, maybe you just require a lot of graphics horsepower for something that you are doing. Then you are going to definitely want something bigger, because that system will pull, most gaming laptops will pull over 200 watts just straight up. So they'll be looking at about 240 watts or higher. So this unit will not cut it. So I have this Jupiter. Now this Jupiter unit, you can pick this up at Harbor Freight. This is a 400 watt inverter with a surge peak of 800 watts. This guy actually comes with a little display that will show how much voltage is on it that you're actually pulling. And it's also key to note that most of these larger systems have an automatic shutdown where they will beep and stop. Like if your battery is starting to get low, they will start chirping and or just stop functioning, so that they try to not kill your battery. It is possible to drain your battery if you're not running your vehicle while you are using these things, and if you ignore that chirping, then that will be a thing. They also come with I have called these gator clips. Now they are, essentially like gator clips, but these are kind of remind me more of like turtles, snapping turtles. Gator clips have the little teeth on them, or these just go around, but they have like the little turtle beak. So I don't know. You can call them whatever you want. Now, the whole point of this video kind of arose because, well, as I had these directly connected, I had this guy directly connected to my battery, and it's a short thing, so I just had this thing sitting up in the hood of my car, and I was running, and I could not hear the chirping. and I ended up draining my battery. That is my current setup at the moment. The actual units that I have plugged directly into my vehicle, I am momentarily using an old extension cord that I had. I had an extension cord, you know, with the bad end that got messed up. So, you know, I just chopped it up, and that's what I have running temporarily. At some point in the future, at least the 200 watt version, I will run a direct connection to the battery with some actual, you know, vehicle type wiring. So it'll be hooked up a little bit more properly. What I'm using right now, extension cords are, you know, I mean, you can plug those into your, you know, your home wall outlet and run, you know, any type of, you know, skill saw or any type of high wattage power draw. Whatever your home outlet can provide, you can definitely, you know, run and pull that type of power using an extension cord. So at least a construction grade extension cord like I have. Not all extension cords, it has to be a construction grade one. So for the temporary moment, it is working just fine and is perfectly fine to use. However, I do want it to look a little nicer, so eventually at some point I will wire it correctly. Now the 400 watt unit that I have, wherein I do have that one also hooked up with its own separate cable to the battery, that is not going to be in the vehicle much longer. I really see they sell these units, and it can be a little bit misleading, you know, especially since they sell them with the option to plug them directly into your car's accessory power port, which again is limited to 120 watts. So that 200 watt unit, plugging it directly into, you know, the power port, yeah, that's great if you're not running big stuff. However, if you are, then, you know, you're going to end up blowing fuses, and you're going to be like, what's going on? You know, if you don't understand what's going on. And unfortunately, a lot of the people that are selling this stuff, they don't have a clue. You know, they don't know. So it's really up to your own research. And then when you're looking online, I mean, you can go down rabbit holes, and, you know, there's all sorts of bad information online, unfortunately. Yeah, or starting to be good information, but then not complete. So it's like, you know, yeah, unfortunately, it's that's a thing. There is no one good solid answer. There is no one good solid solution, except do your own research. I, unfortunately, learned the hard way. My MacBook Pro is going to pull more than 96 watts. I ended up actually frying that little cyberpower unit. It's done. The actual unit itself overheated. There was just too much power in it, you know, trying to get pulled through it. It overheated. Something, you know, melted or whatever, and is done. So it doesn't work anymore. Neither the vehicle fuse nor the fuse, the little bus fuse in the end where it plugged into the accessory power port, neither of those blew. It just actually blew the unit itself, which is unfortunate. I was actually looking at the larger model that would have come in at 240 watts, was the step-up model. I believe it was 240. I think they went 120 to 240 watts on the cyberpower. I don't remember exactly. Anyways, it was the step-up model.
Now that model would have provided me with ample enough power, except being plugged into the vehicle's accessory power port would limit me to 120 watts. So anytime I was pulling more than 120 watts for an excessive amount of time, wherein the inverter itself would be able to handle that power draw, the weak point would have definitely been the accessory power point and the vehicle fuse. So yeah, it still wouldn't have worked. But at the time, the salesperson said, "Oh yeah, it's only a 96 watt power draw on these units. So yeah, you should be totally fine, you know, with this smaller one." So I saved 30 bucks buying the smaller unit. But then I ended up, you know, I paid like 50 bucks for it. That is now wasted because I fried it. So it's gone. It's done. It's toast. No coming back from that one because there's not a fuse that's blown. It's the actual electronics on the unit itself. But it wouldn't matter because I can't really use it for my MacBook anyways. So that is where I did pick up that 200 watt unit, which is great because that does provide enough power for absolute sure, as even the peak power draw on the MacBook Pro, M3 MacBook Pro, really isn't pulling over 200 watts. So the unit itself, the inverter itself, that duralast, it's robust enough to handle what the MacBook can throw at it. So, you know, great, except again, I have to have it wired directly to the battery, which of course pretty much anything over 120 watts in the inverter world should have wiring points on the back of it that allow you to go directly to your battery. Now they do provide a little plug like I showed you, and even on the little tag, the duralast at least, the little tag that came with it, it says if you're going to plug this into your power, accessory port of your vehicle, do not exceed 120 watts of power draw. That is the type of information that people like you and me need to know. We're the end users of these products, so that is important information. With that said, anything over 400 watts of power draw, if you're going to require it and you have to be mobile, you need a larger alternator to charge at least a second battery. So yes, there's an expenditure that you're going to be looking at, plus figuring out where and how you're going to get that all installed, because an extra battery, it's got to go somewhere. So that is something that you really need to think about.
Well, I hope we all learned something here today. I know I did. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hey, and hit like, hit subscribe, stick around, stay tuned. More content coming. Especially now that I've kind of got the inverter problem fixed. So yeah, I'll actually have power to keep making more videos. Yeah, holy cow. So yeah, click like, hit subscribe, stick around. There are some donation links down there in the show notes if you are so inclined to help fund the project. It will help make things happen here a lot faster, make more videos come out a lot faster, that's for sure, if I have more projects. But yeah, otherwise, thanks for watching. Leave a comment. Love to hear from you. And remember, get out, dig in, and let your worries melt away.